Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another podcast. Younger men are peeping the game. You know what? And it was a woman who actually said on one of my podcasts in response a comment, lady poster, was she was talking about how she had talked to some young guys in high school and these guys don't want to get married. And I'm just like, wow. Now, I've did some stuff recently about praising men who creating families and, actually making something work with their marriages. One, because it's actually, in this day and time, it's so rare. Like, to have a man who's actually doing that. But you got to ask yourself one thing. If it's something that's seen as rare, that's a problem. If it's not the norm, that's a problem. That's what these young guys are seeing. And the reason why they seeing it, and it goes beyond what they listening to old heads say. People got to understand that, because I know some women, especially some detractors, will get on here and say, well, yeah, all y'all men saying don't get married, don't do this or that. And I'm going to be honest. These young men, a lot of these young men don't be watching these type of videos anyway. I got a good demographic of dudes like in the 18 to 24 range. Very good demographic, very good percentage. But if you act, that's just a percentage. Most of the guys watching me, older guys been through the wars and stuff, or older guys on, they want some player stuff. Maybe they want to just get a different perspective or have their perspectives validated. But no, it ain't that. These dudes don't have to watch these videos to see that. Now, if people want to know why the younger men are peeping the game, remember, these guys are growing up in split households. They done seen divorce. Even if they've seen it, you got so many of these young guys who grew up in single mother households. I got a story. Yeah, I know I got some. And this is when I was working as an investigator for some defense attorneys back in the late 80s. And I had a case, and I had to interview a woman and her son about this dude who he was on trial for murder. And this dude was like a pretty boy thug, right? Yeah, this dude actually showed up to court wearing a romper. It's like there's some passion marks on his neck. That's how he was rolling. A romper has his passion marks, late 80s. I was just like, oh man, dude, I hope you know how to fight too. They're gonna love you in the joint. But anyway, I had to interview a woman who worked with this dude, and apparently she dated the dude. Now this woman in her older 40s, right? This dude in probably late 40s or something, definitely 40s. And I had to talk to her son too. And I remember, I'd never forget the look on this young man's face when I had asked him about the relationship between the defendant, the accused, and his mother. And I remember how he looked. And he didn't really go into it, but his body language, how he looked down when I asked the question, it spoke volumes. Now, I thought about that, and this is actually one of the things that made me really start paying attention to this whole select, non-select thing. Or, as I mentioned in another video, I didn't use the term at the time, the whole top dog thing, and seeing how women would deal with certain men and other ones. Now, especially like single mothers or some of these women dealing with young thugs. If they got a boy child in the house, he's seeing all of this. He peeping all of this. Especially since you got a lot of women, they might bring a dude around their child, don't really know the dude. Shit. I mean, I've dealt with some single mothers especially when I was younger and stuff, and their sons with some little cock blockers. They be sitting between us, everything. But they peeping all of this stuff. They don't have to watch a video for it. They peeping it. And anyway, getting back to that story about that young man, I thought about it then. At that moment, I said, now how this man going to look at women as he grow up? If he's seeing the most important women in his life cavorting with a thug, or a younger guy. And she was smiling about it too. And so what he gonna think? And this ain't the vibe he gave. This one of those dudes trying to do something with his life. He wasn't no thug dude. So he peeping that. We didn't have social media back then. So imagine now you got these kids coming up. They don't need to look at social media. They seeing what's up. And those are with the single mothers and stuff. And sometimes they peeping when the mothers may be running game on it. Like some of these women out here thinking that their sons ain't paying attention despite their best efforts to mold that son's thought. He's still peeping it. He's still peeping it. And then, like I said, those are just with single mothers. Imagine when, I'm going to tell you what, and there's some metaphysics science behind this. If a woman, I say from the ages of roughly 6 to 13, whenever puberty happens, that might be the worst time for a woman to divorce her husband. And especially if, and I mean, well, it's all cases. Like you got one side where sometimes the woman might lean more on the son as the man of the house or something, which is very dysfunctional, especially if he's around 6 or something, real little. He's peeping and he's seeing what's going on. He's seeing what's happening. Or or like around 12. That's a really bad age because the son might be saying, you know what, I don't want to get married. Because he's seeing, especially he close to his father or something, and he's seeing the mother, then because at his subconsciously, he going to think, well, I meet a woman, she might do the same thing. Like a lot of women do that. A lot of women don't think about the child. If it really, especially when they're young, if someone's going into divorce, it's actually better, like, once the kids are there, stay together for the kids as long as there's no violence or something, and then do it when they're adults, if you got to do it, because it has an effect on the young man. And then if they not seeing it directly, they knowing some friends who seeing some stuff. Like I said, they don't have to watch, they don't have to look at social media, they don't have to listen to name one of these videos. Name one, I threw that, like, Southern Virginia thing in there. Don't ask. Anyway. Name one of these videos, right? They don't have to watch it, but they can just see what's going on in their own family. They can see what's up. They paying attention. They smart. They talking to other people. So, you know what? They already learning the game. Now, it's going to be different ways. Some going to learn how to really take advantage of it. I always say a lot of players learn the game from women. They don't learn from other men. They learn from women. They maybe learn how to navigate some stuff, and they learn from a woman's behavior what to do and not to do, and who getting played and who not getting played. And some of the men, if they young men really pay attention, shoot, they can even see their mothers stepping out on their fathers. So automatically they think, shoot, they get up. It's like, well, what's stopping a woman from stepping out on me? It's not a good thing. And they peeping it. So they growing up and they say, I don't want to deal with this. They don't want to deal with this mess. They see what the mess is. They peeping the game. Now, one thing I did talk about in a previous video about, like, some men becoming, good fathers and stuff. Usually, if that happens, a strong indicator is if he sees a strong relationship between his parents. Like if, he sees the mother being a good wife to his father, her husband. And even in some cases, even if it's a stepdad or something, they cool, then he has a good vision. But a lot of young men ain't seeing that growing up. And you can't tell me, how you going to tell them something? Because human beings in general, they pay attention to what they see more than what they hear. You can tell him, hey, this is a great thing and society wants it. You can even try to force him, but then he's looking at your shit. And now this ain't directed just towards women, but, well, yeah, kind of it is. But they peeping the game. They are peeping the game. Hey, seriously. Seriously. And it is what it is. And, kind of a good thing, really, because they avoided many of the pitfalls. But then, that's a lot of women complaining. hey, you better ask what he been looking at. So anyway, that's all I got for now. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and blessings.